Thomas here with Much Props. Going to give you another how-to video. You may notice I have some new tools. If you follow me on social media, you saw that a few weeks back. I've been messing around with them, getting used to them, trying to figure out an awesome project to do with them. This is not a sponsored video by any means. The people over at Logan Graphic Products reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in trying their new cos-tool tools. And I said sure, so they sent me some. So I'm going to give some of my honest feedback at the end of the video, tell you what I think of it, the tools I like the most, the ones that I could do without, and maybe you'll want to buy some of your own. You can buy them on Amazon. I'll put links in my affiliates page down in the description for you to buy through if you want to help me out while you do it. But today I'm trying to solve a problem that I have with scrap storage. I have obviously a lot of scrap foam because I make 2 props a week for the past 3 years, and it just kind of builds up and builds up, and currently this is my storage situation, and I want to make it look a little bit better and nicer and fit the theme of the room, I guess, by making and just make it overall look better. So I am going to attempt to make a sci-fi style barrel to house all of my scrap EVA foam in. And let's make it out of foam itself. Let's get to building. Like I said in the intro, these are called cos-tools and they're made by Logan Graphic Products. They were nice enough to send me this set for me to try out. It comes with some instructions on how to use every tool and the best practice for maintenance. They're well built, sturdy plastic, and most have storage within them to house the extra blades, which is definitely pretty awesome. As I use them in the video, I'll try and give you my impression of each tool. My younger brother Tyler gave me a couple of packs of floor mat EVA for Christmas, and I've been looking for a big project to use them in. Thanks, bro. Perfect gift for a maker. Give me supplies anytime. I start by making a circle for the bottom and the top of my barrel. Using cos-tools box cutter, I cut it out at a 45-degree angle. I like how the blade extension and the tightener is all in one component. Bonus points for also being blue. This super sturdy ruler is called the channel rail, similar to a nice drafting ruler, but with a lip on one side for a couple of the tools to lock in on. I use the straight cutter to take off all the puzzle edges. They recommend cutting on top of a piece of foam board to prevent the blade from dulling quicker. That's why my table is currently white. This tool would be awesome for a beginner and experts alike, giving you those perfect 90-degree cuts. You just push the blue lever down and pull it towards you. To get the 45-degree angle cuts, I use the bevel cutter. So here are all my pieces cut for the base. The largest, which are 10 inches wide, will be the middle segments of the barrel. The next are the 4 inches with 45-degree angle cuts on one side. Those will be joining the bottom circle and the top circles for my barrel. And the last are 3 inches wide, and they will be the recesses with the texture side out for a nice little detail. The length of all of these are around 24 inches long. After trying to freehand an even strip off the texture to allow for glue up, I decided to use the channel rail. Using a sanding drum on my Dremel, I made 3 or 4 even passes and made quick work of sanding edges. The 45-degree angle cut piece gets glued to the circle. It takes almost 3 full pieces to wrap around the circumference. When I get to the end, I trim it to fit. This makes up the lid and the bottom of the barrel. The rest of the build is pretty simple. I just started gluing up layers using the texture side 3-inch pieces as the recess. I made sure to stagger the seams from the previous line to make it sturdier. Having the recesses also strengthens the cylinder, causing less warping. Now I moved on to the detail work. This circle cutter works similar to an old-timey drill. As you crank the handle, the blade lowers deeper into your material. There is a gauge on the inside that allows you to adjust the circle either bigger or smaller. Because I'm cutting on some offcuts, I put support on the other side with foam to make it even. Perfect circles up to 6 inches. I tried the V-groove cutter here to get some triangle dowels out of it. I realized that's the byproduct of this tool. All the tools that fit on the channel rail have a depth gauge on the bottom. You turn the knob on the back to adjust the thickness of your foam. I really like the hole drill. It comes with 3 different sizes that twist in the main body. Twist the tool and it cuts through the foam. It also has a little button on the top that pushes a rod onto the back of your foam to pop it out of the tool, which is very handy. I'll use these circles as screw heads. Stacking up layers of foam for a nice little detail in the middle sections. Their main purpose is going to be to cover up the large seam lines from my main segments. I even found a use for the puzzle pieces as a nice little detail. Added a rivet on each section of the puzzle area by plunging a sanding drum partially pulled out and dotting the middle with a wood burner. I made a total of 3 of these to cover the large section seams. The great thing about making your own design is you can come up with ways to make it almost seamless by just adding details or little strips of foam here and there. I saw a few people on one of the Facebook groups I belong to talking about using their Cricut to cut out foam, so I thought I'd give it a try. I found a vector pattern, modified it a little bit, and cut it out on some cheap 2mm craft foam from the hobby store. I made 6 of these in total. They stretched about 18 inches long or so. They will go on the large sections in the middle of the barrel. Then I cut out some strips and wedges in the floor mat EVA to add extra little details here and there. When freestyling it, my rule of thumb is adding interest to big open areas with multiple layers. To cover the seams that I just made on the lid, I burnt strips into this 4mm craft foam with a wood burner. I'm really liking the heavy duty channel rail. Those V-groove cuts I did earlier are being used to cover up the seam lines in the recessed areas. I just used super glue to put them in place. I covered this monster with 2 coats of Plasti Dip, which took 4.5 cans. Then I sprayed it with blue spray paint. I actually ran out of this metallic, so I ended up painting it just a basic blue. Instead of taping everything off, I decided to just hand paint the rest of the details. This took forever. I put 2 to 3 coats of Plat Effects paint on the entire barrel. Took me over 10, maybe 15 hours to hand paint the rest of this stuff on. And because the barrel was so large, it was like this weird up and down all day long, looking to try and find the perfect angle to see each piece. My least favorite part painting was these little screws. Why did I put so many screws on this thing? Then the entire barrel got a wash in some brown and black Plat Effects with a little bit of water mixed in. You push it into the cracks with a cheap chip brush and then wipe the high points off with a paper towel. Add another layer of detail, I did a Google search for barrel warning labels and some funny ones too. I'll put pictures on my social of what they say. I printed them on some sticky back paper and dirtied them up with a little watered down acrylic. To age it a little more, I hit it with a little bit of sandpaper too. I want to say thanks to Logan Graphic Products for reaching out to me and sending these cos-tools. They are well put together and I will definitely be putting them to good use. I'm so humbled that companies are starting to reach out to me and ask my opinion about these products. And we are finished. It's too big for me to present to camera, so I'll put some full pictures here so you can see the whole thing. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. It took me a while to build. A lot of times I have multiple builds going at one time, and I kept kind of putting this one off to the side when I got to the painting step because I knew it would take forever, and it did. It literally took me an entire day and then half of another one to get the paint job done on it and get it finished. So I realize there are a lot easier ways that you could probably build this just by getting a regular trash can, but I wanted to kind of challenge myself and use products that I already had at my disposal, so it is what it is. As far as the Logan tools, I really like the ruler. The rail system on it is pretty awesome in helping you kind of keep those straight lines and straight edges. I enjoyed using the bevel tool, so it cuts a nice 45 all the way across. Probably the ones that I'm going to use the most are the circle cutting device, this thing. I probably will use this quite a bit. It's a nice way to get perfect circles, which are fairly difficult. And to kind of go along with that, I also really like the hole punches. I've been meaning to get some type of leather punch or something so that I could punch little rivet holes and stuff to use on props, and these came at the best time possible. The one that I was most excited about using was this little V-groove one. I thought, oh, cool, I'm going to make some like triangle dowels and all kinds of stuff, and it just really didn't cut well. I don't know if it was maybe the foam I was probably using is like the cheap floor mat foam, but it just, after one or two pulls through, the blades would get dull and it just kind of start tearing. So I don't know. I had high hopes for this one, and maybe you can use it a little bit better than I did, but I don't know. So those are my opinions. The only tool that I would say that I probably won't see myself using is the Freestyle. For me, it's a lot easier to just use an X-Acto blade, but if you struggle with keeping your blades at a nice right angle and pulling it across, then maybe this is an easier way for you to do it. I just prefer an X-Acto blade, hobby blade, or a box cutter. I feel like I got a little more control that way. So that is my honest opinion of them. Definitely try some of them out for yourself. If anything, get yourself this sweet ruler and the straight cutter to go along with it. But yeah, maybe you will try and make an EVA storage barrel yourself, because you have the same problem I do of not wanting to throw away scrap materials because it's useful down the line for little bitty parts. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some. Yay! And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. I guess if all else fails, I can use this as a new logo for the back.